So in order to start, पहला question, of course, जो बहुत general है कि कैसे start हुआ? How this journey began?
Thank you, Nivedita. First of all, thank you for actually giving me this opportunity to be in conversation with you as well, and being of great support so far. General question है, अभी सब सबकी जर्नी भी अलग होती है, बट मेरी जर्नी ऐसे थी कि right from the time I was in school, I've actually grown up with dogs, so वो inclination और connection तो हमेशा से था ही. लेकिन जब मैं स्कूल में थी तो there was one particular incident जहाँ पे one of the neighbor had actually hit a dog with an iron rod, जिसका सिर grill में अटका हुआ था, and the dog died after. So that time I was in school, I couldn't do anything, but even before and after that, when I used to go to school, I used to carry biscuits, थोड़ा बहुत pocket money मिलता था पापा से, तो फिर I used to feed street dogs. Slowly, as I went to college, it became feeding them buns, and then 2000 I think when I was 11 years, in fact, I rescued a small pup from the gutter, and I didn't realize it was actually called a rescue. Rescue word has actually come up quite recently, but recent years I would say. But I just felt I did the right thing that time, and I just did. After that, I volunteered for international organizations as well, like RSPCA, Lost Dog Zone as well. Australia में थी तब. लेकिन 2012 में 12-13 when we relocated, 12 में we relocated to Bangalore, and around 2012-13 I had rescued another dog which passed away unfortunately. But soon after that, every other dog I came across, I started getting them treated, rescued them, and started feeding 2 dogs. Today it's around 250. But the exact journey of Sharanaksh only started when around 2016, 17 and 18, I rescued almost 14 pups, and I was taking care of them in a car junkyard. And then once that area started developing, there was more traffic. The dogs had grown up and they were pushed out from there. So quite a few dogs passed away also. So there were almost about 8 left at the end. So I had to do something to save them. So I looked around for shelters, thinking, I can get some space for them, but वो नहीं हुआ. Every option for adoption or space was not happening. At the end, instead of looking for solution, I had to be the solution, and that's when I started Sharanaksh, and I said, "चलो shelter खोलते हैं." बिना funds के शुरू कर दिया मैंने. लेकिन since then it's been 6 years now. 2018 में मैंने शुरू किया.
That's amazing. That sounds really very basic but very impactful. Believe me, like लोग कहते हैं अच्छा ठीक है ऐसे start करते हैं और आपके लिए लग रहा होगा कि बस हो गया. But for others it's very inspiring, very inspiring. जैसे आपने बोला ना adoption का word अभी आया, rescue का word अभी आया.
जी.
Actually you're right. मुझे भी याद है मैं शायद थी भी नहीं. मेरे पापा, my dad has got one puppy. वो भी ऐसे किसी जगह पे रोड पे पड़ा था, and when I grew up, I really remember. आज भी वो बहुत ही connected है मेरे से. तो अब मुझे भी जाके पता अच्छा मेरे पापा ने सबसे पहले रेस्क्यू किया मेरी लाइफ में जो मैंने देखा था एग्जाम्पल. तो एक वेरी नॉर्मल थिंग, ठीक है एक इंसान और जानवर के बीच में जो रिलेशन है वो हमेशा ही बहुत प्यारा है और वो मेंटेन रहना ही चाहिए. हर किसी को चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
That's really great of you कि आप इतने dedicated हैं और इसको आप I know कि challenges आए होंगे, no doubt. My next question is from you that what is a specific kind of I can say master word can I use, like जहाँ पर आपको लगता है कि this is something I'm so good at and you know ये ही मुझे करना चाहिए, या ये मैंने सीख लिया है, I know कि how to handle strays और indies और you know जो challenging situations होती हैं, और क्या एक चीज़ है जिसमें आप फोकस करना चाहते हो कि ये चीज़ मुझे करनी चाहिए और इसको कुछ मुझे impact create करना चाहिए?
See, I can't say I'm good at anything, but all I know is I'm good at, you know, believing that is there, that, you know, there are miracles.
Yeah.
Okay. काफी सारे लोग, इनफैक्ट आजकल काफी सारे रेस्क्यूअर्स भी, you know, they rescue, but you know, at the end of it, what happens is there are quite a few paralyzed dogs that have got dogs that have been hit by a vehicle, या फिर you know canine distemper cases वगैरह होते हैं. वहाँ पे I mean the intention is there to save the dog, but at the end of the day, the solution becomes euthanasia. Jabki euthanizing is not a solution; it is the easy way out. And main thing of for a rescue about a rescue is you actually rescue them to give a life, not to euthanize. So I don't believe in euthanasia. So जो भी dogs आते हैं, I don't believe that I'm the one saving them. I'm just a medium. So what I do is I can only give them the support till they breathe their last. जबकि उनकी जब तक उनकी सांसें चल रही है तब तक मैं जितना कर सकती हूँ उतना करूंगी उनको सेव करने के लिए. बाकी उनकी किस्मत और हमारी मेहनत, जो भी whatever works out. So,
how about family and friends and supporter, like how they are, you know, they have done when they got to know about okay, this is going to be, because you had a nice career, everything was going so good.
You can say this was my calling. Like I said, it just happened one after the other. Yes, I could have left everything and got back to my career. In fact, even now I have an opportunity, but then that's not my calling. I've given up everything for this. And my family has been a great support in this. You know, my mother is also a trustee of the organization. My uncle is there. Plus, my husband has been financially supporting me till date to actually run this organization. And probably without him, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing 6 years from now. From there, yeah. Plus, my son, obviously, you know, he's also grown up. I need to give him time as well, but then he is self-sufficient to manage himself. So he says, no, you do what you have to do, you know. So plus my brother, my dad, everyone have been very supportive of this right from the beginning. So there was no day that, you know, so if there's any emotional moment that I am going through with the dogs, I'll just call either my mom or my brother and I'll talk to them and I get the strength to move on from what is actually happening. So yeah, you can say like my family has been a great support.
So what is your opinion when it comes to haters?
What I feel is everyone has the right to believe what they believe. They don't have to love animals, but as a human, all they can do is they don't have to hate them. Hate is a very strong word for us to use.
At least don't harm.
Yeah, don't harm them, you know, just stay away. Like we learn so many things, you know, we are educated, even the uneducated as well, you know, all they have to do is they are like, we are grounded people, right? So if we are close to nature, we need to believe that animals also are part of nature. We forget that. You know, someone wants to go for a vacation, they will go to, you know, a place where there is natural beauty, scenic, and That's all part of nature, but including not only birds, not only other species, even dogs are also part of nature, right? So we just need to respect their presence, and they say no, if you can't do good, don't do bad. That is all.
So, what's your expectation about new generation or these future generations? What you have to say to them? Because what I understand, of course, what your surroundings are, you become like this. Because when you are young, you don't have that judgment or understanding. You can say, "Ki, what is good, what is bad." So people like us can, come up as an example and make them aware that this is what should not be done. At least, as you mentioned, ki, if don't do good, but don't do anything bad.
What I've been noticing, what I've been seeing, in a lot of schools, there are subjects coming up, where they are teaching about animal welfare. They are teaching, but if you look back through generations, even when we were in school, we have gone through those subjects, not in detail, but definitely as part of the ecosystem. We have actually read about dogs, we have read about animals, trees, plants, everything we have.
Yeah.
It's just not implemented. But nowadays, I think in the curriculum, they are trying to introduce. In fact, recently itself, we have been to a school where, they asked us to talk to second graders about animal welfare. And surprisingly, the second graders knew way more than what I expected. And, they knew about adoptions, they knew about rescues, they knew about, a lot of things. So, and the teachers also were very supportive about the subject, what they have to, and, coexisting. I think that is what children these days have to learn. Be open to your surroundings. I think that's what is important for children these days.
But yeah, you brought very nice point that children are mindful nowadays. They don't just listen you and accept you, whatever you say. We've been little like that.
Correct.
Everybody say we just follow that, but now children ask questions and they expect logical answer. Yes. This discussion has brought me one more question. When you said practice, so what do you say that, of course, few people are not enough. We all have to have maybe some is doing less contribution, some is doing more contribution. So what is your opinion, how we have to bring more people in order to practice, like, in terms of volunteer activity, in terms of, because world is very big and not in one place everything should be okay, everywhere things should be okay.
Volunteering is just not about stepping out of your home and going to an organization and okay, I volunteer to do this for the organization, that for the it's not that. A volunteer is someone who is willingly doing something, right? And if we all need to make a difference, I think the first thing someone has to do is just one life at a time. Save one life. You don't need to go out, saving hundreds and, want to make a name and fame out of it. No, nothing like that. Or, it's not for the others. It's for yourself. Yes. If you are open to just saving one life, you step out of your home and you will see so many looking for help. Don't do it for everyone. Just feed a soul. And when I say a soul, I'm not just talking about dogs or cats. I'm talking about even humans. We find so many humans also in need. We find so many dogs in need, and cows in need. So all people want to do is come out with their mobile cameras and just shoot. If there's an incident that's happened, an accident that's happened, the first thing people do is take up the cameras to shoot it. No, don't worry about the shooting. Just go and help. That's enough. That's being a volunteer. You willingly have tried to save a life.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It became little misleading nowadays. Like people feel ki social media is a power. Let's just out of creating the content or getting the praise, I
Correct.
should do. So you should really have a real meaning of helping someone.
Yes.
Okay, how your opinion about the rules? Okay, when we talk about government or authorized entities about indies or any stray animals, dogs, cows. There are so many things now in internet we all see. Even in societal level also you see there are so many viral videos where societies are very against about, and of course because there is no strict rule, we as helper also sometimes get very helpless. Okay, knowing also it's a crime, but we cannot do anything. So
Yeah.
what's your opinion?
See, there are laws. I think in India we have a lot of laws, but the implementation and enforcement, whether it be for humans or animals, I don't think it works. It just drags and drags. But at an individual level, societal level, there are solutions. Okay, it's just a matter of being open to those solutions. A lot of society levels, people are not open. Once they've said, okay, this feeder should not feed, they should not feed. But it does not happen that way, because if we go at more deeper, where if people are saying no, you don't feed, what if one of the feeders say, look, you own an apartment, you stay in your own home, don't come out. So what happens? That's all. It doesn't end there. It doesn't end. One argues, the other argues. Nothing really happens. The entire society, we have such big societies. Even if it's a small society, all the dogs or that are living. How many dogs in one society? Maximum 5, 10.
Yeah.
You still have so much of space within the society to make a little shed for them. Feed them. Let the feeders feed them. A little bit of contribution from everyone will make it much more, acceptable and amicable, where they are being given food and water and shelter. Night times when there's no one, let them out, let them go around and have their freedom. But during the day, as it is, they need space to sleep because of traffic, because of the pollution, everything. They are looking for a safe space. That is something that you can still provide. There is nothing to fight. There is nothing to argue. This world belongs to them as well, as much as us.
Yes.
So how much ever we try to deny, the urban jungles were actually green jungles before. Humans give themselves a lot of importance, but they forget the basic concepts of ecosystem.
Yes.
And like I said, if they don't exist, we don't exist as well. So if once people start realizing that, that's when I think the concept of coexistence will come back.
So how you think the technology is helping or can help with what we are doing, what in order to spreading awareness, in order to showing also, like maybe if you are doing very good work in one place, but if nobody is knowing, then because it's end of the day, if you are doing ground level work, there is a financial problem. Nothing is free now in this world. Okay, so of course I know there is a crunch which every organization who is doing non-profit work it's the challenge. Okay. So how technology can help and what should happen?
See, obviously technology, it is in these days quite important, especially considering that the youth is more into technology and the future also will be into technology. Until last year, you can say that I never believed in technology as much. For me, it was like neki kar darya mein dal. I didn't care about showing people what I was doing. But then I realized that people were getting inspired. People were getting aware of what was happening around them. You got in touch with us. Impact got in touch with us through technology. So that is how technology is helping. We see a lot of cruelties happening. Many years back, we never used to see all that.
Yes.
So we thought nothing like that existed. I'm sure it did, but we thought it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Now it is more on the media. People are seeing what is happening around the world.
Raising the voice, like you see, there are so many things that happen where people has done too much cruelty, and technology created the pressure even to authorize, like sectors. People, they got punished because of social media pressure.
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. And if right people will not come forward, as you mentioned that you were so into doing your work, you were like, no, I'm just doing this fine. But if you're not coming forward, then wrong people will take advantage of it, and they're gonna influence people in a negative way. And I have seen these things. So people like us have to have, get up and spread the positive awareness that, hey, this is not right,
Yes.
this is the way it should happen. Impact also going to help you wherever it is possible. So our major focus is that only to help people who are working and helping society. So just we want to do this help in terms of technology, because we have realized this is something very important thing. World is going technology oriented, and this sector needs great help. So I'm moving to the next question. Next question is all about, of course, breeding, adoption, and of course welcoming more and more Indies in our life.
Yes. Talking about the breeding industry, obviously it is not good. People say there are ethical breeders, but at the end of the day, they are breeding a life. Okay, they are selling a life. We don't sell a life at all. When it comes to humans, we don't want to sell our children. We don't want to sell our relatives, right? So how do we even make a decision of selling, and how does that become ethical, right? But having said that, again, there are laws. Again, the enforcement is not there, the implementation is not there. There are a lot of dogs that are suffering in puppy mills and illegal, because of illegal breeding, because of backyard breeding and home breeding as well. So people who are, okay, if they want to adopt, if they want to get a breed dog, there are so many already in all shelters. I'm sure if they are open to going and, wanting a companion, wanting a pet for themselves, they can visit any of the shelters, adopt that dog. By adopting, I always say they say, we save 2 lives. One of the dog that we take home, right? And the other that we rescue and we make space. Instead of the adopted dog, there's space left at the shelter. So we've saved 2 lives. We are a very huge population, and the ratio of adoption also will be probably 1 pet in 10 homes, maybe.
That's the very logical point that you brought up, that you're saving 2 lives, not just 1.
Correct.
Giving a space for the one who is needed, because
Yes.
we have a limited space.
Yes.
I hope this will make people, logical and sensible, and they feel like yes.
No doubt. See, breed dogs, to look at, they're very cute, they're fluffy, they're big, they're, very good looking and all of that. But they say that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, right? So how do you look at beauty depends on how you see them. For me, like for a mother, even a child that is handicapped is beautiful. Then why don't we look at dogs as dogs, and see Indies as the same as breeds?
Both love equally.
Both love equally. Both have the same nature. There's nothing different. They are still a dog.
What you have to say about those whosoever, like whether adoption, whether crime stealing, whomsoever you're welcoming to home, being responsible, because you must have seen many cases where people, take it and then they feel, oh, no, this is not for us, or maybe whatever the reason.
In a human's life, whenever we want to have a child, we want to get married, or we plan to work abroad, we make a lot of plans. But why is it that people who want to get a pet home, why don't they make those kind of plans? They're getting a life. It's not like, okay, चलो आज एक पेट ले आएंगे, कल कुछ और हो गया तो चलो वापस छोड़ दे. So they have to make sure they are prepared, they do their research, they make sure that they are prepared for unforeseen circumstances.
They are not just toy. I feel sometimes maybe people feel they're bringing so much happiness,
yes,
and attentions.
Yes.
When it comes to all the commitment, when people adopt or any from any ways they bring any pet, any life home, there should be any legalities also there, because we, no matter how much awareness are there, but it's still things will be there. So do you think that law should also come into the picture, where if you're adopting or you're bringing any life?
Yeah, see, like I said, there are rules even in India.
Mm-hmm.
But then the implementation, the validity of them is not actually the value of those laws is not there. Okay. So say whether it's a breeder, there are breeding laws, but who follows? Right? We go to the police station. They have no idea about what laws we are talking about. They don't even know that yes, animals have rights as well. Then we talk about adoptions. There is a process. Every NGO, same like orphanages, has a process. We follow our due diligence, everything. But at the end of the day, if anything happens, and say the people who adopted an animal from a shelter, or even even say from the road also, they go and abandon. We go to the police station. We ask for help to get the dog back, but we are told that there is no value for that process. So it comes down to the laws being too strict about it, and yes, the implementation and enforcement has to change. The mindset has to change when it comes to how law deals with these cases as well. There are a lot of activists fighting for it, but then when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? We don't know. It's a struggle.
Okay, one question very hypothetically. If you have been given the authority, power, that I got the power to change the rules, to change something, what you gonna do it to start with very first?
See, especially, and this has actually happened in other countries as well. Few of the other countries like Turkey, where every home adopts a pet. Every home. Okay, there are no street animals. And if I had the power, that was the first thing that I would do, saying that give these animals a home at least, right? If that is not possible, it has to be very strictly implemented to not harm, and the same punishments apply to to humans. Applies to animals as well, where a human has maybe harmed an animal, and then what happens when a human kills a human? Either they are hanged to death or life imprisonment, right? So the same thing should happen when they do that with animals as well.
Because in India, I feel it's very neglectable penalty. It's nothing.
It's negligible, and that's the reason people don't respect or law है तो चलो ठीक है 50 रुपए दे दो and बाहर आ जाएंगे. So there is no value for it. So if at all adopting all animals to homes is not possible, then definitely implementation of strict laws on par with humans. You see these buildings before they are built, it was a vacant space. Where there were dogs before, where there were snakes before, where there were other animals
Monkeys and all.
Yeah. And once the building got constructed and people moving in, it becomes their space. Oh, we spent money so much of money to buy this apartment, this place, that place, and then these dogs are invading our space.
I think no one can deny this point that without any particular reason, no other species will come to you and disturb you. They will never come to you.
Correct.
People say that we were moving on from the street and dog came with. You should understand why that dog. If we will get disturbed, somebody poke us and disturb us, play with our mind and good environment, we will be also like that. We will be also furious. We will also bite you and disturb your life.
Yeah.
So you can understand why this dog is doing, because of some incident that dog need this perspective.
Yeah. The way they have been treated. We always take examples of humans who have lived, probably in slums, and they've grown up to be thieves and stolen this thing, murdered people. And then we start empathizing with them, saying that, oh, they've not had a good life and probably why that's happened. Then how is it different with these animals where they have to struggle for survival? They had to fend for themselves for food. And the place that we have taken away from them, how do we expect them to be non-reactive?
We say that we are human and we are the most intelligent, powerful, species. And we don't understand this thing. We don't have power to understand unspoken language.
It's a very funny thing, but, people always call themselves as superior, whereas we are the ones who don't understand them. They understand us. They have nicely adapted to our environment. They were in jungles, they were wild, they were, they didn't have anything around, but they've adapted to the domestic life. They've adapted to the roads, they've adapted to the traffic, everything.
Yes.
But we are the ones who are not able to adapt to them. And we don't understand them at all.
So true.
So it's quite funny, but I usually have the same thing whenever someone talks about it, especially when it comes to superiority, about who is superior and who is not.
So what is something the most rewarding part of your work?
Happiness.
That's nice. Okay, so describe your organization in 3 words.
Shelter and protection, that's 2. But community, I would say. Community Streeties India is the name.
Community is such an important thing. I really wanted to ask this question, that where we should, work together and make this community more strong. It's great that we came up with this point.
Yeah. So do you want me to elaborate on that, or?
Please, that's important. We should.
So when we have this name, Community Streeties India, obviously we are in India, but the community that we are talking about is not just humans. We are talking about the animals around us who are part of the community. Talk about streeties, there are many animals that come in, as part of it. There are cows, goats, sheep, dogs, cats, everything that is moving, basically, right? So they are part of the community, right? And our main vision always has been the acceptance of these animals as part of that community. So if you actually go through our logo as well, I don't know if many people have noticed, it's a paw mark, but it's not just a dog's paw or a cat's paw.
Okay.
There are horses. There's a horse paw. There is a duck paw. There's a cow. If you actually notice that, that's what
Yes.
we identify ourselves with.
Yes. So moving to the next question.
Sure.
Okay. So what is a common misconception about the cause the NGO is working for?
The common misconception is that we are selling dogs. That is how, or we are making, the government is giving us money, which they're not. So yeah, and many times people think, we are either doing it for to go to heaven after death. That is the reason we are doing it, and why not do this for humans, and why do it for animals?
Okay, so now I'm coming to next question. Okay, who inspires you most in your field, like what the NGO is working for?
Who inspires me most? Okay, I've never actually thought about that question, because as in, for me, the only inspiration is the animals. It's the need to help them. They need us. So that is where I get it. I have to do more for them.
That's very thoughtful. That's really a thoughtful thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, somebody would have said maybe this entity, that entity.
No. I mean, like I told you, see, why I started itself was because of them. It was their need. I didn't realize that the situation on the roads was that difficult for them. But when I started realizing they need more and more help. More hands, the merrier. So every day, if I save one, it makes me the most happiest. If I'm not able to, it gives me more strength to save another.
What do you have to say to all the listeners who must be watching this?
See, we have one mission as humans together. Whether you believe it or not, I would say just save one life at a time. You can, the amount of happiness that you will get after that, you will not even, that's not enough. You will want to do more and more. But that, I think everyone works for money, but at the end, they all they are looking for is happiness. And when you do something good, definitely that happiness will come back to you.